Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srimad Bhagvatam Saparivajagatacharya Stotara Sata Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki, Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Samaveta Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki, Jaya Gaura Premanande. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 5, Text 27. Tasmin Satha Labde Ruchir Mahamate Priyas Sravasa Kalita Mati Mrama Yayam etat sadya sad swamayaya Pasyemahi brahmani kalpitam pare Tasmim satha labda ruchir mahamate Priya Sravasa Kalita Matirmama Yayam Etha Sadasad Swamayaya Pasyemahi Brahmani Kalpitam Pare Tasmin Tatha Labde Ruchir Mahamate Priya sarva saklita matir mama. Yayam yata sadasat svaya mayaya. Vasyamai brahmitam kalpitam pare. Word for word. Tasmin, it being so. Tada, at that time. Labda, achieved. Ruche, test. Mahamate, O great sage. Priyavarsi, upon the Lord. Askalita Mati, uninterrupted attention. Mama, mine. Yaya, by which. Aham, I. Etat, all these. Satasat, gross and subtle. Sa mayaya, own ignorance. Pasya, see. Mai, in me. Brahmani, the Supreme. Kalpitam, is accepted. Pare, in the transcendence. Translation and proved by Srila Prabhupada, Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. O great says, as soon as I got the taste for the personality of Godhead, my attention to hear of the Lord was unflinching, and my taste developed. I could realize that it was only in my ignorance that I accepted the gross and subtle coverings for both. The Lord and I were transcendental. Purport. Ignorance in material existence is compared to darkness, and in all the Vedic literatures, the personality of Godhead is compared to the sun. Wherever there is a light, there cannot be darkness. Hearing of the Lord's pastime is itself transcendental association with the Lord, because there is no difference between the Lord and His transcendental pastimes. To become associated with the Supreme Light is to dissipate all ignorance. By ignorance only, the conditional soul wrongly thinks that both he and the Lord are the products of the material nature. But in fact, the personality of Godhead and the living beings are transcendental, and they have nothing to do with the material nature. When ignorance is removed and it is perfectly realized that there is nothing existing without the personality of Godhead, then the near science is removed. Since the gross and subtle bodies are emanation from the personality of Godhead, the knowledge of light permits one to engage both of them in the service of the Lord. The gross bodies will be engaged in the acts of rendering service to the Lord, as in bring the water, cleansing the temple, or making obeisances, etc. The path of archana, or worshipping the Lord in the temple, involves engaging one's gross body in the service of the Lord. Similarly, the subtle mind should be engaged in hearing and the transcendental pastimes of the Lord, thinking about them, chanting His name, etc. All such activities are transcendental. None of the gross and subtle senses should otherwise be engaged. Such realizations of the transcendental activities is made possible by many years of apprenticeship in the devotional service. But simply attraction of the love for the personality of Godhead, love for the personality of Godhead, as it was developed in Narada Muni by hearing, he is highly effective. Jai Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Adaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Welcome to Bhagavatam class. This on this chapter, we're reading about the Narada instruction in Srimad Bhagvatam to Vyasadeva. As we see in the previous text, that how Vyasadeva is like, his heart is like discontent. He is feeling like, so much of little bit of disturbance. He's not feeling happy because of, he's not satisfied because he is, he hasn't satisfied the Supreme Personality of Godhead to the full extent directly. So he came to know that when he was contemplating, and then Narada Muni instructs, because you haven't, fully glorified the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's the reason. That's why, you're not feeling satisfied. So it goes on, and Narada Muni, keeps on explaining, like, how he became a devotee, as he was a maidservant, and he served Bhakti Vedantas. And just by serving them over a period of time, his unearthing in the heart, it was removed completely. And as he progressed, and in this text, like, it particularly mentions that how his attention to hear of the Supreme Personality, Lord, of the God, his pastimes and activities, was very unflinching. It became more like, strong. He came to the Ruchi state where he was completely in observance, and so he felt like, so much taste on that. So Prabhupada mentions in the Prabhupada that how when living entity comes into this material world, as soon as it comes in the contact of the body, the pure soul, it comes into the contact of the body, then because of the false ego, it identifies itself like, I'm this body. And then the manifestation of that body becomes so, the manifestation of the body, it extends to like so many different other material objects, like, your house, your families, your cars, and so many other things. And the living entity gets entangles with this one, and he forgets that he has to, he gets happy when he can only serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That, soul that is hankering for that love. So unless that is not addressed, then the soul continues with dissatisfaction. So the Prabhupada mentioning this ignorance in material world is like compared to the darkness. That darkness is so, hard to overcome. So it comes with the mercy of Guru, it comes with the mercy of Krishna. So Krishna, most of the time, it's compared as sunlight. When the sun comes, then there is no darkness. Just as that that's why Guru is required there as well, actually. And so, more essentially, we talk about Guru, and then we talk about Guru's instruction to follow. How Guru instruction is like, following that, we can easily get the Supreme Personality of Godhead, get easily access to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One of the example, I just remember that when Prabhupada, he met, I think, Peter Burwas, when he met, like, and he was a famous cricketer, and he had like a nice conversation with him. And then Prabhupada mentioned different things, you should not be killing animals, even the ants, you should, if you kill, like, it's a bad karma, you should not kill that. So he took that in the heart, and he was a great famous, the tennis player. And then when it was in the final match, he was in the perfect positions to win the match. But he saw some ants actually just in front of him. And so he remembered the Prabhupada instruction that, you should not kill the ants and all the living entities. So he took that instruction and he changed the place. Just because he changed the place, he couldn't hit the ball because that position was not good, so he lost the match. But later on he explains that, even though he lost the match, he win the match of the life, because he felt that, okay, that's truly it is, I saved like this ants and I felt more happy and I learned so much more than that. So the point is like, how much instruction from the spiritual master we get and we can apply to ourselves, Even the, you see this example, like, how people sincerely they take and they can apply. That to that extent, one Krishna gets the mercy of Krishna and Guru. Similarly, I just remember the one pastime in South India. There, the place is called Kanchipuram. In the Kanchipuram, Kanchipuram, Yamunacharya had so many different disciples, And like, how he has like Ramanacharya and all this. So one of the amazing disciple was Kanchipurna. Kanchipurna. And he used to reside in that place, and he was serving Lord Bharadraj. Bharadraj was a deity. So he was serving the deity Bharadraj. And he was so much pure devotee, like he used to talk with the deity Bharadraj. And people were surprised. Someone can talk with the deities. And it became, very popular, all of a sudden, like the news got spreaded all over the South India. People started lining up and, asking, okay, please, can you ask Bharadraj that I have this problem, And he used to talk with Bharadraj, and Bharadraj used to talk with Kanchipurna, and Kanchipurna used to tell people, that's what Bharadraj said. So that's why so many people flooded there to, ask different questions to Bharadraj through Kanchipurna. And then this was going on, and, like people were asking different questions. And once one devotee came. He was a very nice devotee, and he asked, okay, Kanchipurna, can you ask Bharadraj that am I going to Vaikuntha in this life? Can you please ask this question? So I'm very eager to know this. And so, Kanchipurna asked that question to Bharadraj, and Bharadraj replied, yes, tell him that, you can come, you'll be coming to the Vaikuntha at this life. And so, and then Kanchipurna replied back to this person, okay, yeah, you're so fortunate, you'll be able to come to Vaikuntha at this life. And that person becomes really happy, and he thanked Bharadraj, he thanked Kanchipurna, and he went back. But after he went back, then some doubt started coming into Kanchipurna's mind. Oh, like I'm serving Bharadraj, I'm directly speaking to him, But am I going to Vaikuntha after I finish this life? So that question was arising on his mind. And he was very shy to ask Bharadraj. And as Krishna is in everyone's heart, he knows what's happening in everyone's heart. So he asked that question, and Bharadraj asks, Kanchipurna, you're feeling a little disturbed. You have something to ask me? And he said, yeah, I was just thinking for a long time, but I don't know how to express. But will I be able to go back to Vaikuntha in this lifetime? And then Bharadraj replied, no. And he was like surprised, because he is the very intimate associate of Lord, and he could even talk with Lord. So that was like a big surprise for him. And so because you haven't served my devotees, you have only served me. I know you are a very nice devotee, you have done so much of service, but you haven't served my devotee. So that's why after finishing this life, you won't be able to come back to my abode. So on hearing this, he was completely disturbed. Then after as soon as the Bharadraj tells, then he feels that I have to serve the Vaishnavas, pure devotees. That's how I'll get back to the spiritual world. Then he drops the chamar, he leaves the things aside, and he tries to go to different parts of South India, and he looks for Vaishnavas, devotees to serve. As because he was very popular, he was well known all around the South India, and no one was accepting the service, because the people knew that he was the Lord, he could talk with Lord, and he was a very exalted devotee. And people started saying, when he was asking people, can you can I serve you in some different ways, and so people were not ready to accept that service, because they were thinking if I let him do service, then I'll take the offense, because he's such a pure devotee, So no one was letting him to do the service. So it was very hard for him, and he didn't know what to do. He went all around, people were rejecting him. And then finally he decided, he dropped his saffron robe, he wore the white cloth, and he masks his face so that people won't identify him. Otherwise no one was giving him service. So he went to one of his god brother, and there he started serving as a cowherd boy. He started milking the cow, herding the cows, and doing other different menial service. Yeah. So all this he started doing. And then when he started doing, like, his god brother, like, he didn't knew, this guy is always hiding his face. I don't know this person, but he is such a dedicated, he's serving so much. And that person was feeling so happy. Who is this coward boy, He hardly shows his face, but he's doing such an amazing service. And inside his heart, he was always praying for him. Inside his heart, he was always appreciating him. That service was valued. And then, so he won the heart of his god brother over a period of time, like for 6 months. And after 6 months, one day, like, it so happened that his white cloth got wet, and he didn't have any cloth. So he dropped that cloth and he went back to wear his saffron cloth. And as he was wearing the saffron cloth, then his god brother happened to see him, actually. And then he saw that, he was wearing, and it was like, Kanchipurna. And then he identified, and then he said, like, okay, I can't let you do the service because you are so pure devotee, otherwise I'll take the offense. You can't do this anymore. So, but it was like 6 months was already passed. So he did like tremendous service, and he stopped at that period of time, and he went back to Varadras asking, and he went back to the Varadras and he asked, okay, can I have rendered service to like devotees? Can I go back to Godhead? Will I be able to go back to Godhead at this life, after I finish this life? And then Bharadra's reply was, yes. You have served my devotees, then you will come back to the spiritual world after you finish life. That was the condition. If you serve devotees, then with the devotees' mercy, Vaishnava's mercy, then you get Krishna's mercy as well. So here, how Prabhupada is mentioning that, how our senses are like completely engaged, like some senses has to be engaged. They are always like, active. If you are not engaged in Lord's service, like, we have like, different 5 senses plus the mind, and the nose always wanting to smell something, ear, wants to hear like something, like, and eye wants to see something. So these senses are so active all the time. If you don't engage them in some positive way, like Krishna consciousness, then they naturally will get attracted with some material things, naturally get attracted with some beautiful things, beautiful music, beautiful sight, beautiful, nice things to touch, good thing to taste. So because the nature is to be always active, so idea is like, we use our intelligence and apply that in Krishna service. That's why Prabhupada is mentioning here. So on using intelligence, we can clean the temple, we can hear the Lord pastime, we can see the deities. That way, we reprogram ourselves, like, because previously the programming was, we identify ourselves as this body, but reprogramming is like, thinking, understanding that we are the spirit soul and we are the servant of Krishna, and then our true relationship and our true happiness is just serving him. With that serving attitude, like, we can develop that, like, true love towards Krishna. And that's why Prabhupada is mentioning, like, it's such a nice line. He's saying, such realization of transcendental activities is made possible by many, many years of apprenticeship in devotional service. Like, so that's programming, and then apprenticeship, so we are in apprenticeship, like, we are working in that progress, like, so doing all these different activities. Prabhu does, like, so nice cleaning, all the time, like, and Prabhu is like doing so many activities, arts and service. Prabhupada is mentioning here, doing these activities, we are reprogramming ourselves. So, like, and so does, like, with so many other devotees, like, this is the way to engage ourselves. So that comes with the mercy, with the Guru and the Krishna. So, and eventually we go back to Krishna. And as we see that many people, when they come and, when they see, like, when they are in the body, because we have this body and we have this understanding. And with this understanding, people have understanding of our own body,
And that makes to the point that, oh, okay, we have this body, I have this limitation. With the senses, you have in different understanding. For the senses, they have a limited understanding. And with that limited understanding, we try to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead with the logic, with our senses. But that's not possible. That's why, many people are in ignorance. That's why Prabhupada is saying, only through the eyes of Guru and Shastra, and of Sadhu, we'll be able to understand, because Lord is transcendental. Just to understand the Lord activities are ordinary. It's just like it's limiting Lord, because we can't understand Lord throughout limited senses. So and we have to, that's why Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita in Janma Karma Chame Divam Yavam Yavi Tattvata, like if one knows my transcendental activities, so when after and he doesn't have to come back when he understands these transcendental activities, so he will come back to, he won't live in this material world, he will come back to me. So one has to understand that Krishna's activities are transcendental. That way it will help actually. So, yeah, I'd like to stop here. Is there any question, comment? Grantaraj Srimad Bhagvatam ki, Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki, Jai Gaura Premanande.